Good afternoon. How are we doing today? Welcome back to the homestead here. Been having kind of a busy last couple of days here, working a lot. Now we did luckily get spared by the storm here. Where we're at here in central Pennsylvania, the storm kind of went to the east of us. However, the last 2 days we've had just 30, 40 mile per hour wind. It's negative, not quite negative, but I mean, it was down in the teens most of the day. So I did work mostly on the inside. I'll show you all that later on in the video. But first, let's go ahead and we'll walk around and we'll check out the animals here. So on our last video, I did show you how my wife went ahead and got some meat rabbits. So let's check up here on the meat rabbits here. And as you can see, we got 2 females, and then she did able to find a buck. So now we have a buck to start breeding. The does are about 4.5 months of age, and the buck, he's about a year old. So we're gonna start breeding them here. She wants them to settle in a little bit and make sure they get more comfortable with their homes and their surrounding before we go ahead and start breeding them. Right there's the buck. Get a little bit better view on him. So let's walk up to the barn and check on everybody else and see how everybody else is doing today. One thing I wanted to show you guys was, here's something that I built there last year. What I did was I took some old wood that I had laying around the property here, and I went ahead and assembled it together. And then I put black plastic on the outside to kind of wrap it to keep down any air gaps. And then I had some old storm windows that out in the one shed out there. A long time ago, there was an old homestead on this property that was tore down quite a few years ago. And they stuck a lot of the remaining parts in that. So we found all these old windows. So with that, I built a cold frame here. And as you can see, I don't know how well you're going to be able to see this, even though that it was in the negative temperatures here, and we had them cold nights, as you can see, the radishes there are coming up nicely. So I have a bunch of different cold weather crops in here. I got radishes and I got carrots. You can see the carrots growing right there. I don't know if you can see that on the screen or not. Or no, that's spinach, I'm sorry. That's spinach. The carrots are down on farther. I don't know if they're coming up yet. But I mean, I just built that out of scrap lumber and scrap windows that were laying around the property unused. And now we have fresh vegetables growing there in February. Well, it's March, I guess, in Pennsylvania, where we're still having freezing temperatures at night. So, all right, so it looks like the sun's out. And so the ducks are out here in the sun, just sunning themselves. And over there you got the turkeys. There's old Sammy Hagar. Now we still didn't get the gander yet. We're planning on getting that this weekend here. She did find one. I think she has to buy a pair though, so she's gonna have to bring a female with him. And so that way we'll have 3 females. Last year, about mid-March is when our turkeys started laying eggs. As far as we know, they haven't started laying yet. But with us free ranging the animals, you can never tell whether they're sneaking off and where they're having any. So let's go over here and check out the pigs real quick. So we got all the mamas back with the boar. I can't wait till things start to grow around here so I can get them out to pasture. But everybody seems to be happy now. All the babies are weaned off. We got Marla out here. And there's old Calvin, our big boar. Carla, our Cooney, and old Henrietta, our American guinea hog. Let's go on over here and check on the cows. Now, the last time we did say that we did go ahead and we bought a Dexter bull. He is still a little on the skittish side and a little nervous around me. He's doing much better though. He will let me pet him in the morning. I do give the two steers there some grain every day, and I will have him come over and I feed him a little bit of grain. The last place is feeding him way too much grain. I don't like that much, especially a breeder bull. I do want to get him eventually over to where he's on pasture and get him off the grain completely. But right now we don't have any pasture yet. But while he's over there eating every morning, I do pet him and rub his neck and stuff. So he is getting a little friendlier and allowing me to touch him while he's eating. First couple days he'd run from me. There's the other steer. Now that one there, we have him scheduled to go Monday. I know he's not quite big enough, but the way I see it is by fall to have two of them is just going to be too much. Now, back over to the Dexters. On, I think on Saturday, we're going to go look at two cows. We found two cows that are pregnant and they're due this summer. And so we'll be looking at that way they can come on here to the farm, have their babies, and then that way he can breed them this fall to give him a little bit more time to grow. I mean, he is 6 months old now. He's not going to get a whole lot bigger. He is a Dexter, so he is one of the smaller ones. And there's Milo, our goat. He's our buck. He's just showing himself off there for the camera. And there's old Bebe and Stormy and Vanilla all walking off in the other direction. So let's go back down on here and let's check on the piglets here. So on Saturday we weaned all the... So Saturday the piglets were all roughly about 6 weeks of age. We went ahead and weaned them off their mama. And on Sunday we had somebody come in and he helped me castrate all the males. So now all the males that are left are fixed. We had 22 of them total. We're down to 11 right now. We had 11 of them picked up already. Now of these, there is 6 that are already spoken for. They're waiting on pending pickup. And after that, then we have about 5 left to raise for ourselves. Once the weather gets a little bit nicer here, I do want to get a fence built out there and get them out there on some green pastures. But that's going to be a little bit longer. I want to make sure that they're weaned off their mama first, and then I'll probably return them out here on the outside pasture with mama in about 2 weeks. Oh, I forgot to check over here. In the cow's hay feeder. That's the one thing about free raising chickens, and you never know where your eggs are going to be. Actually, some of them looks like they fell out of the nest. They didn't do a good job this morning. The cows must be eating a lot. See if she's got any eggs underneath her. Yep. So that's 3 eggs for today. Not too bad. Let's head on over and check on everybody else. We think Dexter's getting pretty close there, so the wife wanted to go ahead and moved her in here with the pen by herself. I don't like the idea of her being over there with the big cows to have a brand new baby and being a little wobbly around the cows. Whether the cows would end up hurting it or not, I don't know. But she still hasn't popped yet. As you can see, she's got quite the belly on her. I'm going to give her a little bit more hay here. I might let her out this afternoon here to get some exercise. And over here's Miss Coco Woolly Bear and Miss Daisy. So all the babies that we wanted to sell this spring are gone now. The last ones were picked up on Friday. We have one left there that we're going to keep for ourselves, and then plus one we bought in. Oh, I guess I forgot to check the egg. That's the one thing, is learning where they do lay. So over here, there's a nesting box. And you got a hen on this one. There's 2 nice eggs. The other thing is down here, back in the corner there, nope, no eggs yet today. So let's head on over into the coop real quick and we'll check out and see what's got going over there. All right, so now we're inside the coop here. Looks like we got at least 1 egg here and 1 egg over here. And we got another mama on the nest. And we got a couple eggs there. And it looks like right over here, we got ourselves a goose egg. That's the one thing about geese. Geese, ducks, and turkeys all, that whenever they lay their eggs, they usually bury them. So you got to kind of learn where not to step and where to find them and look for the most disturbance. So up here, let's check on, you got Miss Maisie. And there's Peanut Butter. And that is, I can't think of her name. She's our new doe that we just bought. She's a Nubian. We're going to go ahead and try to milk her. So anyhow, it looks like everybody's good. I'm going to go ahead and take these eggs in the house, and then I'll show you what I've been working on the last couple of days here. So the last couple of days, while it's been very cold outside, as that nor'easter traveled up the east coast here, we were lucky we did get spared by a lot of the snow, but however, we had cold temperatures and heavy winds. So during that time, I took advantage of that. I come in here and worked on the house. So as you can see here, I'm adding this shower right now and this bathroom. Now, I'm not going to sit here and go over on proper tile installation or proper installing the bathroom and how to do all that. I mean, that's not the point of my channel. This is a homesteading channel, which I think that even though it's overlooked a lot, that house renovation is part of homesteading. One of the reasons that we were able to purchase this property at the price that we were able to was because the fact is that the house did need some work. Now it is a fairly new house. It was a modular house. Now I don't know if you've ever seen a modular house. Whenever they set them, that they bring them in, especially the 2 stories, and the downstairs is complete, and they just got to do some minor work there attaching the 2 sections. But usually whenever you come up the steps to the top of the steps, the whole second floor is usually just one big empty room. There's usually nothing there at all. Now, these people, whenever they set the modular, a lot of people that they pay the modular company, whoever they bought the modular, to come in, they build walls and they finish off the upstairs. Now, these people that we bought the house from, they couldn't afford that. So they set the house and then they come up here and they insulated and threw up some drywall, and that was it. So when we bought the house, the whole upstairs was just one big empty room. Now, since then, we put on a one bedroom door over here, and that goes into one of our son's bedrooms. And then behind me here, you see that the other bedroom that we stuck in. And right here is where we're adding the bathroom. Now, the nice thing about these modulars is whenever they do that, they do run all the plumbing up through the floor and through the walls, and that way you have everything up here to work on. Now, that's the one thing I wanted to talk to you about, is that, when you're sitting there and you're thinking now, a lot of you viewers, and you're like, that you want to start homesteading, you just don't know if you can do it. Before this, I didn't have a whole lot of experience on laying tile or anything like that, or doing a lot of renovation work. Growing up, I did grow up on a small farm. We did do most of the work ourselves there. Now I, built a few pens in the barn, and I built a rabbit hutch or two, but I never really worked on the house. Now, after I graduated and then I moved out, I did get a job selling building materials, and the first thing I learned was that the fact is that, the more knowledge you had, that the better off you did with that type of line of work. So I picked up a lot of books, and I read 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 a lot of books, and watched a lot of renovation channels. Back then YouTube wasn't that big, so you had to watch TV, and I just learned from them. And then suddenly it felt like I became the expert, where people were coming to me constantly and asking me questions about renovations and asking me questions on how to do things, even though I had no practical knowledge of doing that. I just had the book smarts. So then finally one day, a couple years ago, right after we got married there, me and my wife, we decided to flip our house. We had a little 900 square foot ranch house, and I wanted to turn it into a 2-story, 1,800 square foot home. So at first she was like, "Are you sure you know what you're doing?" And, I was scared to death, and I was nervous, and I wasn't very 100% comfortable with what I did. But, we went ahead and I tore the roof off, and I remember that first night there, laying there, looking up at the stars above us without a roof on our house, thinking, what the hell did I do? And the next day, I just got out and just did it. The thing is, if you don't try, you don't know what you're capable of. You have to try. And that's the whole point of this video, is to show you when we bought this house, it was a little bit reduced price because the whole upstairs here was unfinished and it needed a lot of work. If we would have went and bought a turnkey homestead and everything finished, that it would have cost way too much money and would have been out of our budget. However, you have to step out of your comfort zone and be able to try things new. Now, like I said, I went ahead and I'm toweling the shower. I'm not an expert, but you know what? There's a lot of experts on YouTube, and that they will show you on how to do this kind of stuff, and how to set the toilet, and how to set the sink, and how to do all that kind of stuff like that. Okay, well, I'm going to get back to work here on setting some more tile and trying to get this bathroom wrapped up here. Again, thanks for stopping by the homestead. I really appreciate all the views and the likes. Please like and subscribe to our channel. That really helps us out a lot. If you really want to help us out here on the homestead, please go down there and smash that like button and smash that subscribe button. I'd really appreciate it. Until then, thanks for watching. Have a good evening.